Since I like going back and listening to my old thoughts, I'm currently in the process of re-uploading some of my older videos in order to make them more compliant with YouTube's policies on reused content. But since I didn't want to do a lot of editing, here is the audio from my original review for this movie.
I think I figured it out. I don't think I like period dramas. That's why I didn't like Little Women, and that's why I didn't care much for Emma. I probably would have skipped this movie altogether, but my options in terms of what films I get to see these days are quite limited. And Universal was gracious enough to release some of their movies early on digital, so I figured I would at least try watching some newer films first before leaning back on talking about older movies. I heard good things about Emma, so I decided to give that a shot first. In Regency-era England, Emma Woodhouse occupies herself by playing matchmaker for those around her. However, her fun is often misguided as she starts becoming meddlesome to her family and friends. Like my review for Little Women, I'll start this review by stating some positives. Emma is a very nice looking movie. The set design, the costumes, and the entire production looks great. I'm sure if this movie was released later on in the year, it would probably go on to receive some Oscar contention. And the lighting and cinematography is very easy on the eyes, as everything is bright and the pastel hues are quite beautiful. And the cast is fine. The only person that really stands out is Anya Taylor-Joy, who most people will recognize from Split. She's quite good in this film, along with Bill Nighy, who plays her character's father, Mr. Woodhouse. Nighy is quite delightful, and his character gave me the strongest chuckles, especially when he scoffed at someone for mispronouncing the word innocence. But that's the most this movie got out of me. A few chuckles. I know critics often like to use hyperbole, but some people honestly described this film as hilarious. I mean, I know the movie is rather lighthearted, but to be considered an actual comedy? I don't know about that. But maybe I'm just not English enough to understand the type of humor this film has to offer. On a side note, I did laugh when I heard the song "Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes" being played because it reminded me of Owl Johnson from the Merry Melodies cartoon. Only because my brother and I will still occasionally sing the song "I Love to Singa" for no good reason. So maybe that'll give you an idea as to where my head was while watching this movie. I've never read Jane Austen's original novel, surprising, I know, and I haven't seen any previous adaptation, which apparently there are a few, so the only thing I have to compare Emma to is Little Women. But with Little Women, Greta Gerwig infused some feministic themes to make the story feel a bit modern and more socially relevant than it already was. But Emma doesn't exactly do the same, so the film doesn't quite stand out as much. It doesn't feel as relevant, so it pales in comparison to something as recent as Little Women, and that's coming from someone who didn't care about that movie at all. But I guess a film doesn't have to be relevant to be good, and I know it probably isn't fair to compare a new movie to a Best Picture nomination, but I'm just saying the film feels pretty forgettable. I will say that I did enjoy Emma as a character though. She's vain and slightly pretentious, but she's a good person at heart. She kind of reminded me of myself, actually. She means well, but she can often come across as being mean or rude, even if she wasn't trying to be. So the story is about Emma's maturing and coming of age, and I can see how people root for her growth, especially since the film has such a bubbly and quirky and lighthearted charm to it. Apparently, Jane Austen's novel isn't as lighthearted, and Emma's character in the book is a bit more mean-spirited, but I wouldn't know anything about that. So Emma is a nice looking film, especially considering that it is a directorial debut. Autumn de Wilde clearly has a keen eye for beautiful visuals, so I would be interested in seeing what she plans on making next. Unless it's another period drama. Like I said, I'm someone who has a predisposition to disliking these kinds of movies. Something about the dialogue and the production and the overall subject matter just doesn't resonate with me. And that rings true here, since I didn't find Emma particularly captivating or relevant. I think the only period piece I've really come to enjoy was The Favorite. That movie was just different from any other period drama that I've ever seen before. And I did think it was actually funny because the humor was quite clever and sharp. But whatever, if you know that you love period piece dramas, then you'll probably end up enjoying Emma just the same. But for me, it was a pretty forgettable experience, because I would likely give Emma 2 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching.